Thank you for clicking on this video today. I hope you're feeling flexible because we are going to stretch your imagination. My guest today is Nicolas Grimaldi. Now, he specializes in osteopathy, but this time it's a bit different. His niche is in babies. So, osteopathy for babies. How does that work? What does he do? We will find out more in this video. Okay, and right now, let's meet the man who has your back, your baby's head, and everything else in between. I use the word osteopath, or at least when the word osteopath comes to people's mind, everyone has got this crackling sound at the back of their head, or they hear this crackling sound, this popping sound, right? But I'm quite sure it's really a lot more than that. It's got to do with improving your mobility. It's got to do with pain management. So from a professional himself, I would rather hear it from you, Nicolas. What exactly is osteopath?
Okay, osteopathy is obviously from an external point of view what you described. People see it as manipulation. You know, we share that ground with many manipulative arts or techniques. But osteopathy is way deeper than that, in the sense that, first of all, it's a philosophical approach to life, beyond the technique, which we can expand in terms of what kind of techniques we do. It's a philosophical and a spiritual approach to life, because one of the biggest aspects of osteopathy, and we describe it as the intelligent hands. We really put intention, we put something into the communication we have with the body. So,
is that the religion part or the philosophy part?
Not religion, but spiritual in that
spiritual,
sense.
Sorry, yeah, correct.
You connect with life.
Okay.
You connect with the energy of the body.
Okay.
Again, not necessarily, we don't need to go too deep in what the energy is and stuff like this, but the body has rhythms.
Okay.
Biological rhythms. So in osteopathy, to make it simple, we consider that as a biological machine.
Yep.
Okay? So the machine aspect is simply the fact that the body is ruled by the laws of physics and mechanics. Okay? Like a car, like any structure, we will be influenced by these laws to create movement. Okay? So the structure defines the function. Okay, and there is a correlation
to it,
back to it, as the function has an impact on the structure as well. So, to give an example that I often tell to my patients, you take a car. To ensure that you can drive your car, the wheels must be round, and perfectly round. If they were squared, you would not be able to ensure that function. Okay? So that's the first correlation. Okay? So to produce movement, you need structures that are perfectly shaped and perfectly functional in terms of movement. Okay? Then they coordinate together. Then you ensure the proper movement to ensure a certain function, as we described it. Okay, so that's the mechanical aspect of it. Okay, so we are not just a machine; we are also a biological entity. And further up, you have the emotional. You have some deeper layers. Okay, so when you talk about the techniques, what you describe as the cracking and stuff like this are the techniques that we use for the machine to put back in place things. It's not exactly that, but let's put it this way. Then there is the intervention we have on the biological aspects. Okay? And the biological aspect is what we call, and you can find the same correlation in Chinese medicine and many, most traditional cultures, where you have an energetic system that makes the machine work. Okay? So in Chinese medicine, they describe it as the qi.
The qi.
It's a flow of energy that has a certain speed, a certain route, okay? And if that speed and that direction is disturbed, then health is disturbed. In osteopathy, we describe that as well. Again, at the end of the day, we talk about the body.
Yep.
Whether we describe it from a cultural angle, which derives from Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, Russian, deep tundra, whatever. It's the same body, okay? So culturally and linguistically, we describe it differently, which is a different perception of the world. But in the end, it's the same body. We find the same things. We just interpret it in a different way. So the biological aspect is that fuel, that energy that runs through the body to make that machine work well. And this is a different set of techniques. For example, when you see me working, very frequently, I would just be sitting without moving on the patient. And I'm working on these flows of energy. I'm working on the soft tissues, communicating with the body. So we have different techniques. What is mostly known, and I would say a lot of people present for the show, is the cracking.
We are here today with Nicolas Grimaldi, a specialist who knows that the very early years of a baby's life requires meticulous care. And that careful approach is what our sponsors today bring to their products. Autonomous. Parents today are hyper-focused on what materials touch their babies. And that's why we like their PPSU feeding bottles for infants. What I hold in my hand is a wide neck PPSU baby bottle. So parents can be rest assured and have the peace of mind that there are no chemicals leaching into the milk. It's lightweight, it's safe, and built to last through those crucial early feeding stages. So choose safety, choose quality right from the start. Choose Autumn's PPSU feeding bottles for your infant. And now, let's get back to the bones of this episode. Just now you also said about putting in place.
Yes.
Right? So how did it get out of place? I know it could be through a variety of factors, injury, accidents, but what are the most common ones that you have seen?
So, I would say we need to start at the beginning, which is birth. Okay, so again, your car, you drive, you might have a guy that is in front of you, then you bang the car. Then you go to the mechanics,
right?
Because it might be broken, out of place, whatever. Okay, so the particularity of our machine as a biological machine, it's the ability of that machine to repair on its own.
Right.
Which is the expression of life.
Okay.
The ability to repair. Maybe in the future with some technologies we will be able to reproduce that in some ways, but for now, the expression of life, one of the factors, one of the expressions is that ability for that particular machine to repair on its own. So when the body faces a trauma, some in certain conditions, then it will disturb the body balance. So we start with birth. 2 elements.
Right.
Traumatic birth. Forceps, vacuum, long, short birth, and many different events will impact the body balance.
Right.
And this is ingrained in, again, the rules of mechanics and physics. If the baby's skull going through the birth canal, which is meant to receive a certain amount of pressures, constraints, it's part of the process.
Yes.
But a biological material or a material in general has a limit to the amount of constraints that it can receive. So, as I describe, and as we describe in osteopathy, you have two particular components to a material. Density, flexibility. The denser you are, the less flexible. The more flexible, the less dense. Okay? A diamond is extremely dense. There's absolutely no flexibility. You take a piece of paper, it's extremely flexible, but has no density, or very little density.
Right.
So the question is, how does a said material react facing a constraint or pressures imposed on it? So during a delivery, you have 3 different steps. First step, and that's what we describe as a natural delivery in its mechanical aspect, is that the pressures imposed on the material, the skull, the bones are a material, okay, will stay within the range of deformability, which means that the pressures will deform the bone structures, the skull, but then once you take away these pressures at the end of the delivery, then everything goes back
into its
place. It's true and not true, because the delivery is a process to change the structures, to prepare the body for the outside world. So you change, you deploy the body, you restructure the skull to change certain angles of bones, etc. So that's why it's a little bit more complex, but to simplify, it's the pressures stay within the range of deformability. You go back to the initial state of balance, okay? But the balance means also the balance within the movements of the bone, not printed with a deformation. So if you pass this range, you enter the range of deformation. You impose a pressure, the structure, the material deforms. When you take away that pressure, the material doesn't go back to its initial shape and is printed with a deformation.
Okay.
Ultimately, in the most extreme cases, this is the ground of scoliosis.